Hello and welcome to Entrust Learning. Thank you for taking the opportunity to access our YouTube channel. On this channel we're going to be uploading a variety of IT-based training courses throughout the next forthcoming months. Please ensure that you do not miss out on all of our free content by ensuring that you have subscribed to our channel so that you will get all the latest updates, and also if you could very kindly like and share the videos to all your friends and family to help them also benefit from this free training sessions. In this training session we're going to be covering all aspects about the computer basics. In this training course you will learn a bit more about computers. In particular we'll be covering aspects of how to use a computer, and also we'll be covering aspects of the Windows operating system as well. On any given day you will encounter computer systems in much of what you do, even if you don't realize it. The television channels you watch, the radio stations that you listen to, the car that you even drive is full of computers. Now, the objectives for some of what we're going to cover in this lesson will include the anatomy of a computer, describe how computers work, understand what we call the operating system, turning on the computer and logging on, and of course shutting it correctly in a controlled manner will be something else that we'll be covering. First of all, we need to understand the anatomy of a computer. The computer itself, it's quite a smart technology which does not have any artificial intelligence. Therefore, the human must intervene and give the instructions to the computer to provide its mode of operations. Here in the screen you can see that we have two types of computers. The one on the left is commonly known as a desktop PC. This includes a separate monitor, a separate keyboard, mouse, and also a base unit, or also known as a CPU. Now the CPU is a central processing unit. Inside of this box it will have other hardware components which include the motherboard, the RAM, which is the random access memory, and it will even have some fixed hard drives to allow you to store the data safely on those disks. The computer on the right is commonly referred to as being a laptop device. This laptop device is truly portable. It has an integrated screen, an integrated CPU with a keyboard and a touchpad, which basically is more or less a mouse. The benefit of having a tablet versus a desktop PC is that it's truly mobile, so therefore you are able to take it with you in a bag wherever you go. The specification of a computer really depends on the premium that you pay to buy the computer in the first place. Like most cars, you can buy entry-level cars much cheaper to some of the sports cars or supercars that are currently available on the market. Another popular type of computer which is now currently being used by a lot of people in today's times is a tablet computer. Now, a tablet, like a laptop, is designed to be totally mobile. Therefore, it can also run on a lithium type of battery, which can last for a number of hours without you having to have it plugged in to a mains outlet. Unlike a PC, which requires power from the mains non-stop to allow it to operate, the tablet and the laptop are very similar in the respect that they are totally mobile. But the additional thing on a tablet is it does not have a keyboard and it does not have a mouse for its input devices. Therefore, these tablets come with a touchscreen. So therefore you just directly use your fingers on the screen to basically operate them in its actions. We'll now discuss how computers work. We'll cover areas of hardware, software, computers, use both the hardware and software to, of course, perform their actions. We'll discuss the information and data. We sometimes feel that the computer may be something of an artificial intelligence. It isn't, and how we can keep our computer up to date and healthy. Now, think of hardware as the physical pieces of the computer. This includes, of course, the monitor, the CPU, the keyboard, the mouse, and so on. Now, the software, on the other hand, consists of programs that are used to interact with that computer itself, and of course interact with the hardware inside of the CPU. For example, if you would like to publish or type a letter, you can now use a word processing program such as Microsoft Word to allow you to complete that. Likewise, if you wanted to type up a grocery list, you could also use a piece of software that will allow you to type that up, and then you may be able to print that and take that with you to the supermarket. Now, computers are designed to work with a type of information commonly referred to as data. Data comes in many forms. Okay, this can be written data, such as you writing a letter to your friend. Sending an email nowadays is probably more of a common practice. Even, for example, audio data like a song or video data like a movie can all be accommodated by your computer. Certain types of software programs work with different types of data. For example, iTunes works primarily with audio data, while Microsoft Word is a word processing program. So nowadays we can transport this data around by using external flash drives, or maybe we could even use external hard drives. This is becoming more and more common as we speak. But historically, a lot of people were still using CDs and to transfer some of the data. It's basically a common misconception where computers have a mind of their own. This is where I'm saying about my computer is possessed. Although computers can perform certain tasks much more easily and faster than humans, like counting and performing mathematical calculations, at the end of the day they are still machines that can't think for themselves. So therefore we must operate them to get the best out of them. So in the end, the computers are just machines. So they do not have the ability to operate all by themselves, but there is a limitation to using computers, which sometimes can happen where they can malfunction. They can become stuck, or they can become frozen, and as part of that they need to be rebooted, or they need to have a break fix to fix the issues that are causing them to crash. So for example, just like a car which needs a regular service to make sure that it does not break down on a motorway, you must do the same thing to your PC or laptop. You need to basically give the operating system and the hardware a health check. Consider the maintenance being a regular occurrence to ensure you extend the life and disruption of your computer. Further to this, you want to make sure that you have the latest version of antivirus to ensure that you are not infected from any viruses or spyware or adware that you may catch from, for example, using the internet. I will now discuss some key facts about the computers. A computer does not need access to the internet for it to run properly. Once you have initially set up a computer, you are able to use it without the internet to carry on doing the actions that you need to perform. A computer will be able to perform most of these functions or actions, such as playing music, typing documents, editing any pictures, and running any type of program that does not require an internet connection. However, of course, if you do want to send an email, for example, you will definitely need an internet connection. A computer needs an operating system in order to work, though any new computer that you purchase will come with a pre-installed operating system. Most people, if they're buying a type of PC nowadays, it's going to have a Microsoft Windows operating system on there. Others who are more into the Apple Macintosh or Apple types of devices, they will have a different type of operating system altogether, which is normally known as the Mac OS X. Now, computers without operating systems are exactly like televisions without a signal. They will turn on, but there will be nothing on the screen, so inevitably you will have a blank screen. So the most popular type of operating system that we have, and we have had for a number of years, is Microsoft Windows. Currently, at the point of this training, we are currently using Windows 10 as an example. Microsoft periodically will produce and update its operating system and release it to the worldwide market to be able to use on top of the hardware that you will purchase. Likewise, Apple will also provide latest changes in their operating system, such as the Mac OS, on their own Apple devices. So basically, the operating system allows you to run other programs and you can do different tasks on top. So therefore, you'll be using other applications in conjunction with the operating systems to be able to perform your necessary tasks. Now, we'll now discuss about turning on the computer. Let's get started. The first thing you have to obviously do, it sounds like what it is. You have to turn on the machine. If you want to switch off the machine, it will stop all the mechanical moving parts inside of your machine and it will turn off the machine to be on standby. But there is another option that you can have, which is called sleep mode. Now, most common computers nowadays have a sleep mode in which the computer is on, but it is running on a very energy efficient minimal power mode. Some people opt to use this option if they will be using the PC throughout the whole day, but they do not want to keep switching it on and off. So they decide to put it in the sleep mode. By moving a mouse or keyboard, it will basically operate again. Now, in order for us to turn our machine on, as part of the operating system, you will need to basically log in. Now, during the setup of a machine, it will always ask you to create an account for yourself. Again, if you're doing this on an individual basis, you'll create the account yourself. If you were going to log into a machine which was somewhat of a machine in your working environment at work, they will normally provide you with a logon. Okay, so therefore you have a logon and you need a password. Now, if you're wondering why this is obviously for security reasons. Okay, we don't want to be in a systematic way of having somebody hacking into our machine. So for that reason, we'll always make sure that when we are leaving our machine unattended, that we lock the machine as well. Now, once we've actually logged into the desktop, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so you have a very colorful graphical desktop of, in my example, being a Windows desktop. You'll be able to control the desktop by using your mouse and your keyboard. Likewise, if you're accessing this from a tablet, you'll be accessing the Windows, for example, by using your fingers. Now, the keyboard itself, if you are going to be using this as an option of an input device, likewise you have the mouse. In order to use your computer effectively, you must interact with it both using the mouse and keyboard overall. Now, this image is of a keyboard, and this closely resembles what you would probably see in an actual keyboard which you might have connected to your PC. Now, some of the key points I want to make here is with regards to the highlighted keys that we have. Now, as you can see, the first key that we will basically highlight is the backspace. Now, this key deletes letters backwards. So again, some people like to use this as part of their word processing. But also, further to that, you also have the delete key. This will basically delete the letters in a forward manner. The shift key, when it's pressed with another key, will perform a secondary action. Again, most keyboards, example of this one we're using at the moment is of a UK keyboard which has what we call a QWERTY layout. Now, the shift keys that we have are available both for left and right hand users. Same way we have keys like the control key, also allocated for left and right users. The space bar again is a commonly used key to allow you to put spaces within text that you're typing. We have the tab key. The tab key again will allow you to put indents in the distance between when you're typing in text inside of a word processor, for example. The caps lock will allow you to constantly type in upper characters. Okay, so you could lock this down so that you do not have to keep pressing down the shift key to get your uppercase character. Again, you have the control key, which will allow you to access both on the left and the right. Now, the control key, when it's pressed with another key, can perform a shortcut. Okay, so for example, you press Control and F on your keyboard. This will allow you to have Control and Find. Now, the Enter key again is one of the most commonly used keys that you will use. For example, if you are doing a word processing task, to begin a new line, you would always press the Enter, like how you would have done in the past on a typewriter. We also have, as part of our keyboard, some important keys which we can use as a form of a equivalent of a calculator. It's called a numlock pad, which will allow us to type numerical numbers much more easily than using the numbers on top of the keyboard. We also have arrows that we can use. Now these arrows, like the mouse, these will allow us to navigate through a document without having to use the mouse, where we could actually scroll to the left, scroll to the right, and of course go up and down. The mouse, while the keyboard is primarily used for insert, import, and manipulating the text and numbers on the computer, the mouse is used mostly for navigating around the screen. Now, these mice can come in different shapes and sizes. Some of the most strange looking mice are often, in some respects, they're designed to be more ergonomic, okay, than the traditional mice. You can nowadays have mice which is wired, which plugs into a USB port, or you can have a mouse which is actually totally wireless. So this is really down to yourself on how much, again, you want to spend on a mouse. Most commonly, the mouse will have, or mice, shall I say, will have a left and right key. So you will also have a scroll bar in the middle of the mouse to allow you to scroll up and down web pages much more easily. Now, if we talk about the left clicking, the double clicking, and the right clicking, now for now, remember these rules. The left mouse button normally allows you to select things. Okay, so if you did a left click, or as we call it, a double left click, this will allow you to open things up. Likewise, it will allow you to select things. The right mouse button gives you more options. Okay, so when you right click, it will bring you down a drop down menu in the operating system, which will allow you to make your choice. The double clicking, like I said, on the left side of the mouse button, or the mouse, shall I say, will allow you to execute options. For example, you can open up a program by double clicking an icon on the desktop. Now, the double clicking of the right does not do anything. Okay, so normally you would always, in general computer terms, hear people saying just double left click. That will be only the case. Whether you're left or right handed, you can set these buttons up in accordance to your own choice and preference. We also can see that we have a scroll wheel in the middle of the mouse, which is commonly found nowadays as we use more and more web pages to scroll up and down. But likewise, you can use this scroll bar in the middle to also go up and down in Word documents that you may be word processing. Now, once we're in the desktop itself, you will have the start menu. The start menu is a good place to start. The actual start option here, we can see in this example, is of a Windows 10 operating system. By clicking on the Windows key at the bottom, you will now be able to open up access to the programs that you have installed as part of your OS. But likewise, in the future, when you install any further programs, you will be able to go ahead and actually access them from there. Likewise, you can create a shortcut to your desktop. If it's going to be something that you're going to access as an application on a regular basis, you can both create a shortcut to your desktop, or you can even pin a shortcut to your taskbar at the bottom. Once we actually open up different programs, or we open up different file explorers, these are called windows. Okay, Microsoft Windows is called Windows for a reason. Programs appear on your screen as a window or simply a rectangular shape, and they're laid in a kind of a dimensional way on top of each other. So you can actually go through and minimize and maximize these windows, and you can keep them running in the background and open, and you can go in and out of them however you wish. Now, this is where we will understand about how you manage them. So to manage these windows, you will find at the top of each of these windows that you will open, there will be buttons such as minimize, maximize, restore down, and close. Now here we can see that if we choose minimize, you can click the button to shrink the window down to a small button, and then you can maximize it again to bring it back up. And if you wanted to totally close the window altogether, you just simply click on the X. This will totally close it, so therefore if you want to open it up again, you will then once again have to launch it, and then if you wish to just minimize it, keep it in the taskbar for later use, you can then maximize it. So this stops you having to close it totally, but there is this concept of minimize and maximize. Now many of us who are new to computing will probably think that it's okay to just simply hit the power button at the front of the PC or hit the power button on the laptop to shut it down. Nowadays, the operating systems are much more intelligent to more older legacy type of systems. By clicking the actual power button, it will either put your laptop or computer into a sleep mode, or it will actually go ahead and shut it down totally. This is really dependent on the power options that you have got set up in your operating system. Now, there's also another option where, for example, you were in a working environment, you might want to be, not shutting it down, but you log off. That is something which is commonly practiced in working environments. People normally just log off, so that every day when they return back to their PC at work, they log back on and then they carry on with their day-to-day activities. So you can sign out if you are sharing the machine so that somebody else can log into your machine, or you can completely shut it down and therefore you can then turn it back on. If you're doing this on a personal level as well, it's probably best to shut down your machine if you are not going to use it for several days. If you are going to be using your PC throughout the whole day, it's probably best that you just lock your machine. Again, this is something that's practiced during the working life of a working environment. People normally lock their machine, walk away, come back. For example, if you want to go to the washroom, you may not see the purpose of shutting it down, so you may lock it, and then upon your return you may unlock it to carry on with your day-to-day work. So in a way, it's like keeping a car's ignition on, ready for you to jump in and go to your destination. But again, obviously this will consume fuel, so therefore it will be using up petrol or diesel, so therefore you're going to be taking up resources. Same with your machine being left on. Again, you can put it in the sleep mode so that it uses minimal power and is very energy efficient. So the purpose of what I'm trying to say is make sure that you shut down your machine correctly. If you do not shut down correctly, or there is a loss of power, the next time you start your machine up, it will basically tell you that you have not shut it down correctly, so therefore it will do like a kind of a mini health check before it proceeds. So thank you for taking part in this short training program on the computer basics. We will be providing you with further comprehensive videos or training material which will be much wider range, so therefore it will accommodate users who are from a intermediate and also advanced background as well. Thank you once again, and please kindly make sure you subscribe and like our video. Until next time, bye bye.